The next talk is Jonathan Mitchell from Brews. They are the largest microbrewery and homebrew supplier in Ireland, and they're going to talk us through how to upgrade your equipment to take your brewing to the next level. Thank you.
I haven't got fancy videos like you gander brewing guys. In fact, I was too busy writing hop contracts all week to do a presentation, so forgive me, I'm kind of winging this. So my name's Jonathan, I'm one of the owners of Get Brewed. It's a husband and wife team. I've been homebrewing for 20 years. I guess we've been professionally operating as Get Brewed for 6 years now. So I'll tell you a little bit about us. We started off as keen homebrew beer and winemakers at home, and decided one day that we wanted to open our own business. So the business started off in our attic at home and shipped very small orders. The little kit and can sort of bundle with a kilo of sugar is where we started. And I guess today I'm going to cover a little bit of how to up your game. So from that sort of platform further up. So we have our own micro brewery now. We have our own micro distillery as well. We have quite a unique microbrewery in that we started off the brewery to feed cattle with beer or Wagyu beef. So I'm not sure if you're familiar with it, but Wagyu beef is a Japanese delicacy. So we wanted to put a affordable luxury into the marketplace. So we have a farm shop with a cafe attached to it and a butchery, and we wanted to make really good craft beer to feed to the cattle, not to get them drunk. Everybody thinks so, to get the cows drunk. So part of the process was to make the beast more relaxed, so it marbles the meat more and makes a more succulent cut of meat, and just an all-round better piece of meat. What I would say in relation to owning our own homebrew shop and going professional in relation to supplying brewing ingredients, it's a very steep learning curve. There's a lot to take in. It was interesting to hear the approach that Gander Brewing are taking, and they're videoing it. It's like blockchain technology where they're showing you every stage and stuff, and I really buy into that. I think craft beer is a unique way of bringing people together. It does build a community, and that's part of why we're so passionate about what we do. So in relation to Get Brewed, we supply everything from beer kits, wine kits, cider kits, right up to professional breweries. So we not only supply someone ordering a one-can kit, we supply the biggest brewery in Ireland, which is Rye River Brewing Company. Well, sorry, Guinness is the biggest brewery in Ireland, so I stand corrected. But the best and biggest craft brewery in Ireland, in my opinion, the Rye River Brewing Company, we supply them. So hundreds of tons of malt per year, tens of tons of hops per year, and tons of yeast, and all thrown into the mix. So up in your game for me, to get back to topic, just telling you a little bit about us. So there's lots of beer kits in the market. By beer kits, I mean extract kits. So what we did was we wanted to sort of innovate and push the boundaries a little bit with that. So we allowed homebrewers to clone their favorite craft beer with our beer kit building service, which is still an extract kit, still contains a basic yeast. It's very much, you take the beer kit, you put the extract into a bucket, you put your water in, add your yeast and watch and ferment. So without boring you in relation to beer kit brewing, in my opinion, some of the companies that make beer kits have moved on. Some of them are still stuck in the 80s. So we say if you're going to brew a kit, or you have someone that's interested in brewing a kit, you can have successful results, but use a really good premium quality beer kit, use a really good brewer strain of yeast, and monitor your fermentation temperature. I use the acronym SIT, so SIT, sterilization, information, temperature. Keep those three things in mind, you won't go wrong. To move on briefly, extract brewing then would be where I would say you would use some liquid malt, some malting grains, and that's a steeping process. So say you steep your grains for 30 minutes at a set temperature of say 65 degrees. What you're wanting to do is take the starch within the grains and convert it into fermentable sugar. So for beer kits, I know Colin's probably covered this from Chris, but say use a little bit of carapils, so it's a bodybuilder, it increases your mouthfeel. So if you're making a beer kit, throw a bit of carapils into steeping grains, then pitch it in with your liquid malt. Up in your game in relation to all-in-one brewing system seems to be exactly where the market is at the moment, and you have maybe been to the third floor where we've all got our stands, and there's 5 different companies, all with the same product, with a different badge on the front of it. It's all manufactured in the same company in China.
Congratulations.
Yeah, that's where we're all at. But look, if you're wanting to up your kit in relation to all grain brewing, when you look at those kits, the market's swamped with different options. Me as a home brewer and someone that gives a damn about the industry, I'm saying to you, look at key things like temperature control. It's critically important whenever you're mashing. So if you've got the wrong mash temperature, you're going to end up with the wrong results at the end. So if you're using, like, the best selling all-in-one system at the minute, it's the system you guys use, the Grainfather. It sells the best for us as a company. It sells the best for the malt miller as a company. But there's loads of other options out there. We have one there at the minute, Brewing. Again, great option, but look at the reviews, look at what people are saying about temperature control, look at what, it's all great being able to operate a brew from your phone nowadays, so it beeps and it says, right, add your next top edition. But is the temperature that it's beeping at correct? Are you mashing at the right temperature? Is the timings working right? Is it getting up to the boil quick enough? Is the boil vigorous enough? Things to look into to buy good kit. Like, we sell Spiral Brewmeisters, they're like the Rolls Royce of the brewing community.
Which is the best?
Which is the best? My personal opinion at the minute is that the Grainfather is the best selling all-in-one brewing system, not because it sells in the biggest volume. It's got really good customer service. The temperatures are accurate on it. But there is others out there. That Brewing, I'm impressed with the build quality of it. I'm impressed with temperature control in it. I have a Spiral in the warehouse. We have 4 or 5 systems lined up in our warehouse, and the staff are encouraged to use them, to learn and educate themselves on the systems. It depends very much on your budget. If you've got a budget of 350 quid, I would kind of go, well, why not go for a Brewing? Or, like, there's companies up there that I don't work with, that I respect, Hopcat, things like that there. They're all really good. Angel Homebrew, they're all good systems. And I didn't actually see you until you stuck your hand up. I wasn't giving you a plug. Like, this game's hard enough without sharing information, and you'll find the guys that are here, they all give a damn about the industry. We all want people to brew successfully. For me personally, I want people to brew consistently and impressively. So if you brew a beer now and you like it, I want you to make that same beer in a few months' time. And getting back to ingredients, like, I distribute for a number of really key companies in Ireland: Crisp Malt, Lallam & Yeast, Simply Hops, Barth Haas, Hop Products Australia. The reason I've partnered with those people is because they care about the quality. We want to supply the finest quality ingredients there possibly is, because we want to promote homebrew. Up in your game is moving away from the ethos that there was in the 1980s, where everyone remembers, me and my friends, we all remember your mum and dad making hedgerow wine and beer kits, and they fermented them in their hot press. And you remember them making a mess of themselves, or a mess of the house, or whatever. But it's evolved a lot. You can now have total control. You can brew at home the exact same way that a commercial brewery can. And I know lots of commercial breweries that have Grainfathers, and, like, as their test plant. It just so happens that you guys are using it as your starting point. Like, we sell brewing equipment right up to Brewix microbrewery level, which is like 200 litre systems, 500 litres, 1,000, 2,000. I guess the important things for upping your game is consistency and using the best you possibly can. So if you're going to brew beer, use the best ingredients that's out there. Use recognised, reputable people. The people that are here today are recognised and reputable. There's a lot of people in the homebrew industry that are on a race to the bottom. They want to be the cheapest, and they don't care how they do it. I know myself, and I know my counterparts that are up the stairs, that they manage the ingredients properly: cold chain storage for hops, crushing malt correctly, checking grist fractions, making sure that you're getting the exact same quality time and time again. Those are all important. So, look, I'm not going to keep battering on. I'll happily take any questions in relation to upping your game, because I've taken myself from being a home brewer, from running my business at home, to we have our own brewery. Like, we supply, I would say, the large majority of Irish breweries, from the smallest to the largest. We ship homebrew products throughout Europe. So I think I've I've covered all the bases in terms of it's a steep learning curve and you make a lot of mistakes on the way. So if anyone's any questions, fire away.
Temperature control, cold size on fermentation.
Yep.
So I need to get that handle of it because I don't have a fridge or anything.
Yeah.
I looked online. There's a lot of things about like drilling holes in fridges. I get a bit nervous about it because I want to electrocute myself.
Yeah.
What's the easiest way to do that?
The easiest way is to get yourself, there's a couple of products out there, get a second-hand fridge. A second-hand fridge is a perfect option. Or get yourself some Kingspan and cut it out and make it into the shape of a fridge and duct tape it. You know, same thing. It's all about the insulation. So what you then want to do is get a dual thermostat controller. So there's a couple of companies do it. Mangrove Jacks make one. It's got 2 plugs on it. Inkbird do one. It's got 2 plugs on it as well. So you have a hot plug and a cold plug. So you put the fridge plug into the cold end and then buy yourself a 2-foot heat tube off eBay or Amazon or something like that there and plug it into the hot end. So the heat tube goes inside the fridge. The 2 plugs, hot and cold, go in, and it's a digital set. So Inkbird and the Mangrove Jacks ones work the exact same way. So you digitally set it. Now, in terms of yeast, I'm no yeast expert, but the first 3 days in relation to fermentation are critical. So fluctuations in those first couple of days are going to cause you major problems. So dual temperature thermostat controller in a second-hand fridge is the perfect way to do that. Any other questions?
Liquid versus dry yeast, pros and cons, where you stand on that.
Yeah, personally, I'm a massive dried yeast fan. Rob Percival is a very good friend of mine. It's the European manager for Lalliman Yeast, and that doesn't sweat in the slightest. But liquid yeast, it's degrading from the moment it leaves the factory or the production facility or the homebrew supplier or the commercial supplier. Dried yeast is more stable. In relation to yeast, I would always encourage people to look at yeast nutrition. So cell membrane structure to give it, if you want to recycle it time and time again, I'd be looking at products like GoFirm. If you're just wanting to have a really good fermentation, you look at products like Yeast Life Extra or zinc or servomyces. Now, I'm not really good at saying that German purity term, Reinheitsgebot, but if you're brewing to that particular way, servomyces is the product to look at. But personally, I think liquid yeast is overrated. We do sell a lot of liquid yeast ourselves, but we try to include a free ice pack with every packet that goes out to ensure that it arrives in optimum condition, but it is degrading from the moment it leaves. We buy all our liquid yeast in America, it's flown here on ice, it goes into our fridge, and then it's flown to you guys or shipped to you guys by a parcel horse or whatever. So personally, I think dried yeast is the way forward, but that's just my personal opinion. So.
What about the commercial brewers who sell to? Do they make dry? Or?
Yeah, I would say the large majority of our commercial breweries take dried yeast, maybe 90%. But they all are starting to use yeast nutrition and monitoring their fermentation curve a lot closer. So we have a lot of breweries that are naturally carbonating, so they're watching the curve and the fermentation. Then when they're a few points out, they close off the valves and let it naturally carbonate in the fermenter. So.
Do you see differences between the homebrew market in Ireland and in Britain?
Yeah, homebrew market in Ireland wouldn't be as advanced as what it is in other parts of the UK. The flip side of that would be that we would brew more innovative styles currently because we don't have the real ale culture in Ireland that they have in the UK. So your milds and your bitters and your best ales and things like that wouldn't really be brewed in Ireland. And we noticed that a lot of their online sales, we would see, like we have a custom grain kit thing where you can build any recipe in any quantity online. So malt, hops, yeast, you can buy it in the volume that suits you. And our guys are all brewers that work in the warehouse, and they would say that they would notice. I think they try and guess what people are brewing from time to time with the recipes that come in. They would notice that there's a lot of miles and bitters brewed in the UK, whereas in Ireland there's none. It's all IPAs and stouts and red ales and lagers, you know, so two very different marketplaces. Like consumption rate is something that I would monitor from a business point of view, and the consumption rate in Ireland in terms of craft beer is floating below 3%. So we need to breach that to really have an impact on big beer. Whereas central London, the figures are sitting at 15% consumption rate. And that's a massive sway, you know, in terms of craft. And you guys have great licensing laws here where we're totally out of date and we can't sell direct as microbreweries to the trade and things like that there, which are counterproductive.
Thank you.
Thanks very much. Have a good evening.
Thank you very much, Jonathan.